Hi, my name is Wendy Ann Clark, and this is my channel Transformation, where I talk about how God desires that we would be transformed into the image of Jesus by the power of the Holy Spirit. So here I do teaching, talking about things to help and encourage us to cooperate with the Holy Spirit and to be changed. And today's the day I usually answer a question, a common question that someone has asked me along the way. And the question I want to talk about today is this: is it wrong for me to teach my kids about Santa Claus? And related to that would be like Elf on a Shelf and the flying reindeer. I don't know, all the things related to Christmas that are secular in nature. And my answer in short is it can be, it might not be, it might be okay, it might be wrong. And I'm going to give you my opinion about it. And some aren't going to agree with me. And that's okay. I understand the other perspectives on it, but I'm just going to give you my thoughts. I actually know it's easier and simpler for a lot of people just to make a rule and say, no Santa Claus. But I don't agree with that. And I think you can be a nuanced approach to Santa Claus. So I'm going to talk about that, but I could be wrong. Okay. And you need to decide what you would do. But I think make-believe can be fun and harmless, and using our imagination isn't bad. I also believe lying is always wrong, and shaming and manipulating people is wrong. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how my parents approach Santa Claus and how we approach Santa with our own children, and we did participate in Santa Claus. So that's my perspective right now. So if already you're completely offended, then this probably isn't the video for you. But if you just kind of want to know our perspective, my family's perspective. So we were always clear with our children. My mom was with me. My parents were with us, that Santa is for fun. Santa's pretend. So like if my kids said, is Santa real? I would say, he's for fun, right? He's pretend. We're using our imagination. And surprisingly, even though you say that, if your kids want to believe, they believe. So they use their imagination. We know how to play pretend with dolls and things when we're little, and we use our imagination, and we can talk about it like it's really real, but we're pretending. So this is an interesting thing. We gave, as a family, one gift that was for the kids together. That was from Santa. It was a Santa gift. And I have it a way that I would write on the present. I would use a different paper. I would use a Santa paper for that gift. I would write, from Santa, but it would usually be a big thing. Like we bought a trampoline one year or some sort of game for them to play together or something. All the other gifts came from us. We did stockings that were little things that I wrapped with that same Santa paper that were in their stockings. And I didn't fill the stockings until after the kids had gone to bed. And I didn't put the gift from Santa out till then. The kids one year made a Santa plate, and they put cookies and a carrot and a glass of milk on it. And we would take a bite out of the carrot, eat cookies, maybe leave crumbs there, drink the milk and leave the thing that we always said we're pretending. And yet the kids still believed, and they believed in some way until they didn't believe. That's all I could explain it. And me as a child, I believed until I didn't believe. I can't tell you when that change was. I just grew up. We never did Elf on a Shelf. And that's just because that came pretty much after our kids were done with Santa or near the end. I didn't need something new. I don't like the idea of the elf watching you. Like I've read the book and go, oh, I don't like he's watching you to see what you're doing. Or I don't like using the elf or Santa to try to shame kids into being good. Like some people did the thing, you were naughty, so put coal in your stocking. No, I don't like any of those things that feel like they're mean or they're not in the spirit of fun. Fun things that I know about, like we had a friend and he's very artistic. We have a friend. He hasn't gone anywhere. Very artistic and creative. And he made paw prints for the reindeer, like he made them of like a mold. And then he would go out in the yard and make the prints and sprinkle, glitter, and then, I don't know, stomp on the roof, and the kids would get so excited. I heard Santa last night, and then come out and look. I did, like with the Tooth Fairy, I would sprinkle glitter on the pillow and then going up to the window seal, and my kids would wake up with this glitter down the side of their face, which I thought was hilarious. And I would write letters sometimes from the Tooth Fairy or from Santa or whatever. I really appreciate some of the creative and funny things that people do with the elf on the shelf, where like he's doing things that are just hilarious. I do appreciate that. And I would have enjoyed thinking of those kinds of things, fun and funny things. And then their memories, I think, that your kids would have when they get older, like, remember that one? That's like so hilarious. Santa for us was a very small part of Christmas. Just fun and funny and pretend and imagination. But Jesus was a big thing for Christmas, and we never equated Santa with Jesus. We were clear that Santa is pretend, like Mickey Mouse, and Jesus is real, and Jesus is a person, and Jesus is alive today, and Jesus is God. And we also talked about St. Nicholas and his story as a human person. We did Advent readings, and we learned the Christmas carols. And on Christmas Eve, we read the entire Christmas story and sang through the carols. We had some friends that what they did is they put an empty manger under their tree. And then in the morning, on Christmas morning, the baby Jesus would be in the manger. And they said the kids got, so in the morning, the first thing they would do is run to look at the manger and see the baby Jesus. I think that's an appropriate focus. Whatever you choose to do, biblically, you should have a clear conscience about it. So if you think you might be doing the wrong thing, then don't do it. Husbands and wives, biblically, need to come into agreement. So if you can't agree about it, then don't do it. If you choose to tell your kids that Santa isn't real, then please teach your kids to be kind to other kids and to not be know-it-alls. We had someone, tell one of my kids, Santa isn't real, blah, 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 and not in a very nice way. And then my daughter came to ask me about it. And I just said, well, what do you think? But don't have your kids do that. That's just not kind. Be careful not to do anything that actually leads your kids to equate legalism and being good with being loved. That somehow love is withheld. If they aren't good, you can cause problems that way. Also, I recommend you don't enslave yourself to any practice, like torture yourself trying to make it all work out. If Santa can't arrive at the same time at our house as he does at other houses, oh well. When I was growing up, a lot of times my parents didn't have money. And so we would wait and have our Christmas on New Year's Day, our Christmas Eve on New Year's Eve. And it was so that my mom could shop for gifts at the Christmas sale, after Christmas sales. And we would say, we're just waiting. Well, what about Santa? Is he going to know to come? Yeah, Santa's going to know to come. Because he's pretend, right? And we're just playing with Santa. Oh, yes, I know. But Santa's still going to come to ours. Oh, yes, he's going to come. How does Santa come to our house when we don't have a chimney? Oh, Santa just knows what to do. And it's pretend, right? We're just playing. We're using our imagination. Oh, yes, I know. It's kind of how it worked at our house when I was growing up. Know your own kids. Pay attention to how they think. So if you have a kid that this is really going to be a problem for them, it's not worth doing Santa. Talk to God about what you should do. God, is Santa Claus okay? Talk to your kids about, this is what I recommend, the different things that different people do for Christmas all over the world, because there's a lot of different things and not everybody does the same thing or even exchanges gifts the same way. This is helpful to talk about. if you find that just Santa and all this secular stuff, and they are secular things, if you find them to be a big distraction, just don't do them. Some people, I hear these stories, I was devastated to find out Santa wasn't real. My parents were lying to me and all this. I don't think that should happen. My parents always told us that Santa was make-believe. Now, my older sister tells of a time when a neighbor kid told her, and my sister was about first grade, an older kid said, "There's no Santa, blah, blah, blah." And then my sister went to my mom and said, "Is there no Santa?" And my mom just said, "Yeah, he's just for pretend. He's not really real." And my sister at that time still really wanted to believe. So she said she felt sad that we all still believed. And my mom told her not to tell us. And she really wished that at that time, my mom would have just communicated in a way that would allow her to believe for a while longer. So that's why when that happened to my daughter, and another kid said, "Santa's not real." And I said, "What do you think?" And she said, "Oh, I think he's real." That's what my daughter said. And I said, "And that Santa's for fun, right? That we're pretending and we're using our imagination." And my daughter said, "Oh yes, oh yes." But she continued to believe. So don't lie to your kids. You don't actually have to lie to your kids to have fun and pretend. And your kids are good at pretending when they're little, and they will grow out of that at a certain time when they're ready. So talk about how we use our imagination to play, and we pretend and we have fun. And then when they don't believe anymore, it just kind of occurs naturally. It's never about anybody lied to me. So to repeat, don't lie, don't manipulate, don't shame your kids or bully your kids to be a certain way. Don't use Santa or the shelf on the elf, the elf on the shelf, the shelf on the elf, the elf on the shelf. Don't use these things to try to get certain behavior out of your children. Your children should obey you because your children should obey you. And that's a whole nother talk. So have a clear conscience, whatever you decide. And if you don't participate, then don't let your kids be spoilers for other kids. Really teach them how to be considerate of other people who think and believe differently for them, or who are pretending, or just teach them that, not how to be a spoiler. But again, if it's a big distraction, just don't bother. It's not important. If you do choose to pretend, then I suggest do it all in fun and playfulness and just this kind of like, we're going to have a good time, and that's it. Be creative, use your imagination. This is what I think about it. And I know there's others who would disagree with me. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, hit like. If you think somebody else will enjoy it, hit share. Hit subscribe if you just want to help me out. Hit the notification button if you want to be notified when I post new content. And thank you so much for watching. See you next time, and enjoy this Christmas season.